Hello, welcome to this edition of Married to Cinema. I'm Brian.
I'm Whitney.
I love movies.
And I don't.
So, in this edition, we're taking a suggestion from early on and we're finally covering it. It is Andrzej Żuławski's 1981 horror masterpiece, Possession.
Weird movie. Weird.
Yeah, so before we discuss how we felt about the film too much,
Where do you start? But
I would like to start with the plot, and I think at a certain point, and we will give you a warning, but we're gonna have, for the first time, a spoiler section in which we tell people who don't want the film spoiled to turn off the video. Because then we're going to talk about spoilers, because it's really hard to really review and discuss the film without spoilers.
Yeah.
So, the basic synopsis of this film, it follows Sam Niell. He plays this character who is a spy, returned from his missions, and set in West Berlin. And he comes home to his wife who wants a divorce, and he goes crazy. He's under the impression that she's cheating on him with another man.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts getting really violent, tracks the guy down. They have violent altercations, but she tells him it's not another man, even though the other man tries to say that he's taking good care of her, whatever that means, and well, basically, it's him violently charged, having violent altercations, and the wife goes insane.
Don't forget the doppelganger.
There is another woman at the same time that looks just like the wife, who is the school teacher of their son, Bob.
He is 5. His name is Bob. He didn't go through, So Bob's short for, Robert or Roberto, right? So we didn't want to go Robbie or Bobby. We just went Bob.
I feel like there's another film I saw that in, I don't think it was House by the Cemetery, but it was something like that. But this film, it's about this man trying to rekindle what he has with his wife, and his wife is basically going insane. That is the general synopsis that we can give.
But there are so many weird things. There's so many things.
We'll get to that in another portion. What can we say about this general portion? Much of anything?
That's pretty much the synopsis. That's it. And you think, that would be very easy to follow. It is not. It gets really, really just redonky-donk. I mean, it just...
It's an art house horror film. It's Andrzej Żuławski. And this is the only film I've seen of his. I'm not familiar with his other work, really, but I've always known of him by reputation. And this film was one that was always in the list of, weird horror films you've never seen. And this was, for the longest time, I'd go through these lists, and this would be the only one that, I hadn't seen, but I'd know it by reputation. And so I'd always wanted to see it. And it'd been on my list. I just never saw it streaming anywhere or anything.
And we still couldn't find it streaming anywhere.
Yeah. So, after our first episode, my buddy Jay, shout out to you, Jay Wall, he posted this as a suggestion. And so I started looking for it. Couldn't find streaming anywhere at all. I even asked a buddy, and who has links to, the little library streaming services. He goes, no, can't find it anywhere. But it was $40 on Amazon. And so I eventually caved, making this our biggest budget episode yet.
Wow.
Yeah, $40 budget. Whoa. How about that?
Even Gigi me out for that.
Yeah, even Gigi's excited by this. Like, oh, big budget now. It's like Transformers or Avatar. Here we go. And Blu-ray arrived the other day, and I gotta say, this is the nicest packaging I've ever seen for
It's pretty fancy.
any home video release ever. Like, there's a little pull tab like you'd have on, like, books. Like a little ribbon bookmark where you can pull it, it comes out. And housed in there, not only a little sheet with the chapter list, a nice little booklet, and then, of course, you get the Blu-ray. But still, I've never seen packaging like that before in my life, honestly, and I own a lot of fucking movies. Even
Well,
Criterion can't do shit compared to that. Like,
yeah, it's pretty impressive. So,
it's nice packaging. Packaging, 10 out of 10 straight up.
movie, we'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll
so,
get there.
I feel
So,
like we just need to go into it. We just
Okay.
need to...
so this is where we talk about spoilers.
So, if this 30-year-old movie is on your list and you haven't seen it yet,
It's close to 40 years old now.
okay, fine.
Yeah. Anyway, if you have not seen the film or want to see the film and don't want spoilers, turn this video off now. Because we are talking about spoilers now. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Director. So my number one, like my very first issue with this movie is as a person who works in education, I have to say these people are so irresponsible as parents. Bob, first of all, totally irresponsible to even name your child that. But Bob, he is just like, we don't know where he is a lot of the movie. He just shows back up. Early on,
The husband comes
home
after he's lost custody of Bob. He goes to the estranged wife's place, where Bob is just covered in like just this mess of food or whatever. He's just disgusting looking.
Yeah, and there's nobody there taking care of him because presumably the mom just went out. But beyond that, like, so you meet this doppelganger of the mother. And if you're not familiar, doppelganger is, can you describe that better than me? I mean,
Doppelganger is someone who looks exactly like another, like, not a twin, but another person of existence in reality that could easily be a twin. Like, they look just the same, but they are not blood related. So it's a weird anomaly in nature, essentially.
they do really exist in nature.
This is a real thing, yes.
Also, there is a lot of paranormal lore to back doppelgangers.
Yes.
So the teacher of Bob, because Bob's like 5, looks just like Mom except she's got green eyes.
Yep.
Well, Dad goes right out the gate by trying to like sleep with her, but before he sleeps with her, the teacher just shows up at the door, and Bob's in the bathtub. Not only does this guy bring this teacher into the bathroom, like, look, there's my 5-year-old son naked in the tub, but also the door rings again, so he's like, here's a towel and soap. Would you mind finishing bathing and drying my naked, like, child so I can go deal with this door lady that I literally just met and didn't know was his teacher?
It's a European film,
Ugh.
mind you, though.
Yeah, well, it's a no. It's a no from me.
Yeah.
But that bothered me. So
Żuławski is a Polish filmmaker, and this is his single and only, well, I guess single only means the same thing, but it's his only English language film, and he still sets it in Germany, and it's during the Cold War, so that's heavy as like a thematic idea of the Cold War of West Berlin and East Berlin, which is in terms like a thematic split for this marriage that's going on. And he wrote this while he was going through a messy divorce, so it was very much a personal film that he had all these ideas for how it thematically was semblant to the setting and whatnot. But then you get the rest of the film, which, okay. So he thinks the woman is cheating on him with this other guy, and maybe she is here and there, maybe she isn't. She's staying up there, she's shacking up with him a little bit.
Right.
He's taking care of her somewhat, but for the most part, she has created this relationship with this creature
That looks like ground beef.
that is born out of all of this weird disconnect.
He's what you look like.
How I interpret it.
He
Yeah.
literally looks like meatloaf that was left over, and then the dog ate it, and the dog threw it up.
With all the anger, negative energy, it grows. That makes it grow. And it's very bizarre. So at one point, the husband hires a PI to investigate her, and he sees the creature and gets murdered by her.
Which,
So then the PI...
pause on the murder. Homegirl kills him with a broken wine bottle, but instead of she has a brand new bottle of wine. Instead of saying, let me just quickly transfer, this into my decanter or a pitcher or a bag or something, she just busts the bottle of wine on the floor. I was like, you know what? You're wasteful.
Sometimes they don't have enough time for that.
I always have time to save wine, but continue.
So then the lover of that detective goes and investigates, and he sees the creature and meets similar fate, where I actually loved this shot where she shoots him just like in a panic, just like shoots him, not even really aiming, just like shoots him 3 times. They all hit him in some angle and he drops to the floor, essentially. And I really like that because it's not like she like, oh, pow, 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 right to the chest. It was like, pow, pow, pow. It was like
a panic
the
shot?
knee, the arm, and then the
right.
chest. And it's like panic shot, and I appreciate that because you don't see that in film very often. So I appreciate that. But anyway, so the film continues, and the husband, he just continues his pursuit until like the supposed other lover, Heinrich, he goes to the apartment and witnesses this creature, and she starts stabbing him, and he escapes and calls the husband like, dude, you have to believe me on this. And so the husband meets him at a bar, and they go to the bathroom where the husband drowns him and makes it look like just a drunken, like, accidental suicide. And partly because the man's gone mad, and partly because he won't believe him, and partly because he wants his former wife back.
Well, and then when the husband, the original husband, goes to this, like, weird, like, derelict, like, other apartment that she's keeping the creature in, they're having sex, and she's just, like, having sex with a pile of ground beef. Like, I don't...
She calls it pile of ground beef. I'd say it's more like a bratwurst man.
It's really gross.
It's like a bratwurst man.
No, those are those creatures off that one movie that we watched.
Yoga hosers.
Yeah, that's a bratwurst man. This was like
not ground beef.
It was disgusting.
This was a fully formed sausage.
Okay,
person.
sloppy joes that were
sloppy joes
smushed into a man.
Okay,
sloppy Joe wiener.
But does the form at this point matter when you get to the final form? We get to the final form near the finale when the husband he's meeting with one of his business executives talking about a new job, and then the cops realize, like, all the fucked up shit this guy has done. They start chasing him, and he's going through this building, and they're shooting at him, and he gets up to this level, and his wife and the creature meet him.
Right.
The creature has taken full form of the doppelganger of him.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going to stop the spoilers. I don't want to spoil any more about the film.
You can watch the end for the...
Yeah, because, there's...
I want to
There's
tell
some
you...
more, but...
I want to say watch it, but I also want to say don't. But watch it. Oh, we didn't even talk about the scene with the milk.
The milk scene?
She's just got a bag of milk, first of all, which must be a European thing. But also, she's just like,
it seems like we think it's
dying.
Milk,
yeah,
what is it? It's like
I think it's
like thrashing it everywhere. It's like in a tunnel.
Yeah, like a subway. It looks like she got off the subway, and she's using the re-entrance tunnel to go back to the street level. But there's no one else there, and you find out she's like miscarriaging some kind of baby she made with the creature, but like she's just like screaming and like rolling around on the floor in milk and like smashing herself into the wall and like it's wild.
Utter intense convulsion. And this film proved to be like a big influence on films like Antichrist, the Lars von Trier film, which you haven't seen and I would never show to you. I don't think Lars von Trier is a good filmmaker. I despise him personally. But that is the idea of this style of horror cinema, is like, this isn't standard horror cinema, this is art house horror cinema. Like, predating this current day where we have people like Robert Eggers, who did The Lighthouse, or Ari Aster, who did Hereditary and Midsommar. Like, this is like pure unadulterated 1980s art house films that happen to be horror films. Which is why they're as weird as they are, and hard to explain, and hard to understand. Like, I'm still digesting this film, and the more I digest it, the more my opinion changes. But there was so much there, because I'm interpreting it so many different ways.
So based on your current level of digestion, what would you rate the film?
God. My current rate... I would have to go an 8.5.
Ooh.
I thought this was like a very striking original piece of art that I have never seen anything quite like before elsewhere. There's a lot I still haven't fully interpreted or understood yet about the film, but I think it's one of a kind, and that's what I love about these polarizing art house horror films, is that they are so one of a kind, and no one else can make these. Like, take fucking Scream, for example. Like, Wes Craven's brilliant, but anyone could fucking make that. Possession, though?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'd give it a...
She was not a fan.
I don't know, man. I mean, I guess I could have a... 0.8.
A 0.8, not even
I don't
solid
even know
1.
that it gets a 1 because
hated it.
Because I'm uncultured swine and I need at least a beginning and an end. I understand if the middle is muddled. I understand if you want to do end media res, where you start, middle, end, and then get the beginning or whatever. But that just wasn't followable to me. That was a mess. And I don't think it was art. I think it was a mess. And I'm sorry if your buddy thinks I am garbage for that, the one that suggested this. But at least I am Rocky. At least I am cute trash. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 0.8.
She is cute trash, and I still love her. But art films are not her forte. So when this was suggested, without having seen the film or anything by the director, I was like, oh, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be very interesting, because I knew she would hate this movie, and I had a feeling, like, that I would really appreciate it. I was, like, art house horror is my jam, and it is the opposite of hers. She does not take well to this. She needs more formulaic structure with her films.
Yeah.
And, yeah, she doesn't really get so much into the postmodernism, and this film does have a postmodern feel, and so I knew that she would not be crazy about it.
And that's okay. That's why we're doing this.
But that's why we do this,
So.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay, for the suggestion.
Yeah, thank you. Please, we'll watch them.
I thought it was
One
excellent.
will stick, Jay. So, yeah. So, please like and subscribe to
Like and subscribe. Married Cinema on YouTube.
Give us suggestions. Ask other people to watch our videos. I mean, show your friends.
Yeah, keep watching. We didn't get as many views on the last one, but that can build, that can change.
We
that
can get
always
there.
Change, and just like keep on loving our stuff, appreciating our opinions and our banter, and
yeah. Thanks, guys.
We're all great.
All right.